Hey guys, Rabbit here, back with another Starcraft Broodwar Remastered cast, and today we've gone back into our retro Broodwar pack. So this game was uploaded by the legend that is in control to Wikipedia in March 2008. And playing today in the top or the bottom right position, we have Only Heaven, who is a Protoss blue player. And he is playing against Idra, who is our red Terran for today. The maps keep loading in Korean, so I don't know what the map is yet, but I'm hoping as the game transpires that I start to recognize it. If I don't, and somebody in the comments or somebody watching this game does recognize it, please do let us know in the comments which map this is. That is one of the little bit of downsides from these retro packs, is if the maps are not tagged in the names of the files, it isn't always possible to know exactly what map they played on. And of course, because they played in 2008, it's not the map pool that we are obviously much more familiar with today. Alright, so Idra, a very, very good North American player, is a very, very strong Protoss himself. And therefore with him playing Terran, he will likely have a very good strategic appreciation for this matchup. I cast a game of his where he played Terran against Best. That's also on my channel, and that was very, very enjoyable. So watching him play both races is also a lot of fun. So here we go. We are moving across the map. And we're doing our first little scout on the Protoss side. I don't know anything about this player, only.heaven. Yeah, obviously if he's playing at Idra's level, he is more than decent. This actually looks very similar to the map that Best and Idra played on, so it may well be the same one. Alright, so gas is going. Looks like we're setting up to at least build a factory. We'll have to see what happens from there. Probe's gotten in, got all the vision he needs. This does potentially strike me as a two-player map just because of the scouting choice. Maybe it's a three-player, I can't be 100% sure. The build from our Protoss is very standard. We're not seeing a Nexus first. We're not seeing any shenanigans as of yet. Cybernetic scores coming in, so that all looks pretty good. This SCV is going to come in here and confirm exactly that anyway. And yeah, on we go. So we have got, on Idra's side, 76, 84. We're just going to keep an eye on that gas count. When we get to 100, do we pull our boys from gas? We don't. Okay, and okay, so there he pulls one, and there he okay, so now he's just got 2 on gas. Interestingly, he's accumulated about 200 gas as opposed to the standard 100 that you would before building a factory. The factory is well and truly on its way. But the reason why we keep the boys of gas is to make room in the budget, so to speak, for the command center. But I don't think we're going to get that. I think very, very soon we are going to see a second factory, which is very juicy. Meanwhile, on this side, Idra's SCV just having a look around. Hello, how's things? All good, wonderful, wonderful. Hello. Here come the Marines. Yep, so he's produced 4 Marines. He's adding on a shop, which tells me at the very least maybe he just wants to build a tank or 2. So if it isn't 2 fact, it might be a sort of 4 Marine 2 tank early push, and then he'll expand behind that. I'm just watching this production tab like a hawk, man. I want to see what exactly his plan is. Our Protoss has scouted a little bit more of an aggressive build, and so he's gone for a robo before expanding. Obviously this is 2008. The meta now is you build your robo after your Nexus. At this time, it was actually far more common to get your robo first. So you would get range and robo. You'd be super safe from pretty much everything. But you would obviously take a nearly 5-minute Nexus on a very regular basis. Okay, so the SCV has been picked off. I want to see now if the plan is for our Protoss player to expand. So as I expected, he is staying on 1 factory and he is just pushing out a couple of tanks. It does appear to just be a maybe one fact push, or just getting enough units out for him to feel comfortable expanding without worrying about a bunker. The command center is on the way, so it doesn't look like a push as much as it looks like just giving him enough units to expand. He's starting siege mode, so this is very, very safe from Idra. You tend to do a siege expand, and there's very little that Protoss can do to punish you. So these tanks will probably siege up on the high ground, and then these Dragoons are going to be in an awful lot of trouble. In fact, that one just took a shot to the face for free. We are floating our barracks all the way across here for scouting purposes. So down comes the nexus of our Protoss. Don't be misled though, that doesn't mean that he's behind economically, ahead economically. He's most certainly behind, because this command center is pretty much almost done. And these Dragoons decide to move back. So 4 goons are here. It's very much just 2 gate obs with the nexus on the way. So a little bit behind economically, but he's going to have, at least for a short period of time, a few more units. That being said, tanks that have now got siege mode will pretty much nullify any threat that he could be expecting. So a couple of turrets coming up in case he's going to go DTs. So I think our Terran player is feeling as snug as a bug in a rug. As our observer flies in here, he's going to get hit in the face with this turret unless he turns. Okay, so that's good reactions. His goal is to actually go in here and see, okay, cool, so here's your command center, nice. Let me go in and count your factories and see if you're building a starport, or what sort of plan you have here. Okay, so he's moving into the goons. I don't know, well, the bunker didn't come up, so he's going to target down this tank, but the 2 on the high ground are not firing. They're slightly out of range. This is a little bit of a problem. He has to actually move one of his tanks down here onto the low ground, potentially behind these minerals. So he picked off actually a pretty profitable trade there for Protoss, if I'm honest. And I think Idra's hearing me back from 2008, even though I'm talking to him in 2022. Move your tanks onto the low ground, my friend, and things will certainly be a lot more juicy for you. 4 siege tanks, so there's absolutely nothing Protoss can do. But there are no mines, there are no vultures on the map. So certainly would have an opportunity to expand if he so felt like it. He's like, nope, screw that, I'm not listening to you from the future, I'm playing 2008 style. We're going to do some zealot drops with some goons, so maybe a little bit of a bulldog, but with this many tanks, oh man, I don't know, let's see. 1 turret's not going to really do much damage, but there are 5 tanks here, and he's only got 4 goons supporting him. So while he may get 1 or 2 tanks here, I think the trade of losing all of these, it's not going to be with it. He's already sends the goons down. The goons are such low health, they all get body blocked by the SCVs. So yes, these zealots did get down, but now these tanks are going to go into tank mode. How are all of these goons still alive? Obviously a couple more goons came from the gateways to reinforce this attack. He's picked off every single tank. I seriously underestimated the value of this little bulldog. These zealots are chasing these tanks. Another tank pops just in the very, very nick of time. So these tanks are probably going to be able to fend away with the support of this repairing SCV. Both of those zealots. The goon pressure is gone. Where the hell are we in this game? 51 plays 48. So Protoss is 5 workers behind. And that's actually probably about the difference. Army composition is more or less the same. I think if you're Terran, you're feeling really, really good about this. Protoss does take the opportunity with the map control that he's got and the lack of vultures and mines, etc., to take a third, which I think is a good call. But he's really, really going to have to drum up his macro at a rapid clip to catch up to the Terran and be able to overwhelm the Terran in this game. I think, unfortunately, those attacks as Protoss, you think you're doing well and they feel good. But if they don't end the game or do catastrophic damage, it's just really, really hard for you to come back from this. So my assessment at this stage, although, yeah, so he's ahead on workers. He's going up to the 4 factories now. Not yet looking to expand and take a third, although he probably could do so. I think his plan initially is just to get some vultures out onto the map to do some harassment and get some vision. And then I expect we might actually see a third, or alternatively, Idra, knowing that he's in a strong position, may just push off of 5 factories with a timing attack. We'll have to see, but I certainly like this game for him based on the opening 9 minutes. Alright, so Citadel's coming in. We are getting legs. Is there even a forge? No, it's 2008. We don't believe in forges. We don't believe in upgrades. Is there even an armory? Nope. We don't believe in upgrades at all. Anybody. Upgrades are silly. Okay, so another reason why I enjoy these retro games. The meta was just so different to what we're used to today. Alright, so we're laying a few mines, we're heading out, and there are a wall of goons here. They're going to one-shot that tank, and there he goes. The positioning here is a little unfortunate, and these tanks sieging up is probably just going to force these goons back a little bit, but really, really slow this push. Any stray units will be picked off. Nice awareness here from Only Heaven. That was really, really nicely done. It's almost like he anticipated that move out. Obviously, these observers gave him all the information he needed. Good observer placement, and obviously you can see the value of that. So he's got his boys on the hill. It's a good spot to have them. Observers are here. He's picking off the mines, but unfortunately he goes into the range of that one siege tank. I don't know if moving any further forward is a good idea, although he doesn't want the mines. He wants to be able to try and push on this attack. He doesn't have enough zealots though. He's only got 2. They do have speed. He is still pushing forward. He counted the tanks and decided it was worthwhile to target it down specifically, but he's going to trade all of his dragoons here. But that being said, I think Idra's also going to lose all of his tanks. This kind of puts us back on even supply. A 4-worker deficit. This game is certainly close. These players are really evenly matched, and we're having a lot of skirmishes continuously. I think Protoss very conscious of not trying to let the tank count get too high. But by the same token, Idra is just constantly trading out units, and he does still have the superior economic advantage. He's going up to 6 factories, so this is really going to be quite aggressive. We're not seeing any signs of a command center or a 3rd base. He's moving around now with his units to see, alright, so what have we got? This is very interesting. Have you ever seen an expansion that is walled in by gateways? Well, now you have. So this one goon is like walling this whole thing in. Okay, so he does send some units in from the other side, but these probes are pretty much stuck here. He pulls away. How many does he get out? I think he lost about 4 probes there, unfortunately, but not a bad evacuation, all things considered. Does send the probes back into the active war zone. Unfortunately, these units... Oh, he was pretty lucky there, because I think he tripped that mine. But he's tidied this up. Yet another gateway gets in, so it's a narrow and a very interesting approach to securing a base. I can't say I've seen that many times where we're using a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gate wall, but cool. Nice to see. Nice to see. So we got 5 gates there, 3 gates here. So we're not actually building in our main. We have a different main. Let's go. Okay, so more vultures coming in. Just gonna walk straight in the front door again and kill even more probes. This harassment from Idra is really painful, because Protoss is not getting any further forward. And behind this, he has just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factories. He can build as many vultures as he wants to, and he's building a command center here on location. The only problem with this decision, in my view, is there's not another gas, and I think he needs a 3rd gas to try and keep his tanks going. You can see he's already got a little bit of a mineral to gas deficit, and this is not going to help him. This harassment, though, has been absolutely endless, and I don't know if this wall of anything has been helpful. Probably could have built himself a forge and a couple of cannons, and not nearly had to be worried about the amount of disruption that base is giving. So he does have a forge. We see it here. He has slotted +1, and I think that's going to be the first cannon coming into play now. So certainly would have been a little bit helpful to our Protoss to have some cannons a bit earlier, but it is what it is. All this open space in the main and hardly any buildings in it. Doing it in the natural, very different. So look how close together these 3 bases are, though. It's insane, this map. Can't say I've seen it much. Alright, so Protoss has decided we're going to storm into the front door into a fortified position with very little by way of upgrades. The vultures are going to body block beautifully for the tanks, and we're either going to lose all our shit or walk away. We kind of do a little bit of both, to be very honest. And yeah, our Protoss friend is, shall we say, not playing a very good game. Yeah, let's just be nice. Let's not say anything untoward, but not exactly peak Starcraft being played from our Protoss friends. So it's just now just probably a matter of time before Idra moves onto the map and gives this Protoss a solid smack. I think he just wanted to establish his 3rd base. He's now got an academy up so he can get scanners, and you can see he's building scanners all at once, so he can start to scan and scout where exactly his Protoss opponent is. We can see here from this mine placement that there is a 4th that our Protoss is trying to take. My expectation is the second this Nexus finishes, a party of vultures is going to go and harass and put some pressure there. So as I said earlier on, really struggling with gas. He's only got the 1 gas here and over here. So he is on 2 gases. I think he would really be happy to be on 3. And there is probably a base not too far away where he could get gas. But I think maybe just going to keep prioritizing his vulture production and go from there. 144 plays 115. Really not in a position to be attacking as our Protoss player, but here he comes anyway, picking off a few free units, to be fair. But now the tanks have sieged up, and now these goons have got to get the hell out of Dodge. These are 0-0 goons. They're just about to get +1. And they are playing against 0. Wait, hang on. Yeah, that's true. 0-0 mech at about 15 minutes. 2008 meta, ladies and gentlemen. It was a different time, that's for sure. Okay, so Nexus is coming in. Idra's still struggling to spend his money, unfortunately. I think it's mainly just because he's struggling with the gas. He's got 7 factories, but only building 3 vultures at a time, so he could certainly be macroing out a little hard. I think he got himself supply blocked, unfortunately, so he's got a depot on the way to try and release that. So that is slowing him down a little bit, which is just obviously giving the Protoss player a little bit more time. Here he comes in here to set up potentially another base. And this has been an interesting game. Our first upgrades are now coming in for our Terran player. So he wants +1 to face against the +1 weapons that is Protoss. This is the big engagement here. There are no High Templars. There's nothing else. This is just goons versus tanks and vultures. Mainly goons in this army. Very few zealots. And there's a deep line of tanks here, so you are not going to get any penetration if you are Protoss. He's not doing more upgrades. He's not even building more tech. Okay, here we go. So the Arbiters are finally on the way. So he has completed his tech tree on Arbiters at about 16 minutes. That will certainly slow down the Terran player, but by no means, I think, be a major challenge. He's built another base here as our Protoss, but he hasn't saturated it. It's just simply because his probe count, I think, is a bit too low. He probably about 15 workers short. A lot of harassment, to Idra's credit, that he did earlier, I think really set the Protoss player back, and he didn't really remake those workers. He was just thinking what he needed to do. So 7 facts coming out here. I've never really seen, okay, now finally for the first time I see sort of 7 units in production. And up here, there's that 3rd gas now. If you can get that base set up and established. Our Protoss player also has 2, looks like 2 observers on the map. So isn't really scouting around for other bases. So Idra decides, you know what? I'll just build 3. I'll just build 3 bases, and I challenge you to go out there and go kill them. So nothing like your 17-minute triple expand in a PvT to to keep the juices flowing. Alright, so there's a DT amongst this, but we know that our Terran, this is a lot more zealots, and this is a nice flank actually here. So a lot of these zealots getting on top of the tanks, but this tank line is incredibly deep. The amount of penetration he would need, and just the sheer volume of zealots to break through here is just, it's just not doable. So he throws in a bunch of units, doesn't trade particularly well, and then backs out again. So is now starting to saturate that base a little bit, building a couple of rows. I think he realizes he just can't produce enough cash. Idra's done really, really well. There was a little time there where he was struggling to spend his money. I suppose building 3 command centers at once will certainly help. Let's see here. We're putting on some pressure. We've got some arbiters in the game. I think he's going to move in here and really start to pressure some of these expansions, etc. And that's probably the right way to go here. He's been in control of this game almost from the very beginning. So now it's just a case of slowly but surely whittling down the Protoss and just managing these arbiters. I don't see a starport. I don't see science vessels. So he's going to try and manage arbiters with scanners. It's not ideal. You wouldn't see that in now every day and age now. You would see this army flanked by 1 or 2 Goliaths to fire direct shots from the arbiters, and of course a couple of science vessels with EMP research. So again, different meta, different time. We're also going to detect some of the units by laying mines around them. Can work, but obviously maybe not the most effective way to deal with an arbitizing Protoss player. So 148 plays 106. This is the slow death walk from our Terran player, moving in with his 1-0 mech units at 20 minutes. And where is he going to go is the big question. Also, I haven't seen any spells coming out of the Tribunal. So is he making... has he researched like stasis, recall, anything like that? Okay, so he's definitely done stasis because we just saw one there. So that was beautiful timing indeed. A couple of turrets here. Oh, actually juicy double stasis there on the arbiters. That was very nice. So when these units come unfrozen, if there's still enough Protoss here to kill them, he's going to be able to capitalize. The problem is the deficit is just so big. 145 playing 94. is really not going to help. So yes, he does pick up some tanks. It does feel good as a Protoss to do this. But then unfortunately when your units come out of stasis, you just don't have enough units left to kill them. So Vults are setting up a few mines. The Zealots actually absorb a lot of those mine hits, which is good. But the Vultures are just so good against Zealots. There's a line of tanks now that have sieged up behind these frozen tanks, so that when they come unfrozen, it is just going to be so many shots. And there you go, these Dragoons are surely going to get slaughtered now in just a matter of seconds. There we go, so everybody's now unfrozen. I think the only reason why they're not dead is because they weren't scanned. There the scan went off, and there went the Dragoons. 136 plays 96. I think the push from our Terran now should probably be endless. Is building 7 units at a time out of his factory non-stop, keeping tabs with his macro quite decently. 4 Arbiters certainly will slow you down as Terran, especially if you're playing without vessels and you have low upgrades like this one does. But in this case, it's probably just a case of numbers. Just sheer numbers will eventually overwhelm, that is for sure. Base count is decent. He's established another one here. He's establishing a base over here. I think he must have walked straight past Terran to do that. So he's detected these bases, but hasn't seemed to try and do anything about them. So a couple of mines being picked off here. Vultures, tanks heading across. This is to shut down this base. I think this base is quite important. We've got this one mining, we've got this one mining. But this one has got a fair chunk of probes at it. Maybe I'd say at least 20. So if all these probes go down, that's really going to hurt. Sending his units across to try and reinforce here, but the mines are doing decent work. The Arbiters have come in. Oh, okay, nice. So he's sent his Arbiters across. He's got plenty of energy. He's got plenty of Arbiters, full stop. So he's frozen the tanks. That's great. Problem is they're going to unfreeze, mate. What's your plan then? Okay, well the plan is to surround them here. Now, what is Idra doing with these other forces? It just seems to be pivoting around, trying to knock down this base. Unfortunately, Protoss has not got nearly enough supply to be everywhere all the time. So while he knows these tanks will die, I think he's just sacked them. He's happy to let them be, and will rather put his energy into knocking down this little base away from the base. Okay, so he picks off those tanks. Obviously, like I said before, it does feel good when these things happen for you. But there is just so much Terran. He could actually catch some of these units on the way out and flank them. It's really just Gateway Man with some Arbiter support. He hasn't built High Templars. He hasn't researched Storm. He's only now researching Recall at 22 minutes. So that doesn't seem to be a plan to beat them. Science Vessel is coming in, so he does seem to want to use Science Vessels now. He is getting in a few Goliaths. So he is slowly but surely moving towards the correct composition. And he is now flanking this army. If we look here on the minimap, it's going to be very difficult for this army to do anything else other than take this fight head on. The Vultures are in a pretty decent position here. Ideally, though, these tanks should have, these ones here could have maybe sieged up a little bit further back, but the line is so deep that honestly, it's just not going to matter. This entire ground force from Protoss is just going to get wrecked. As long as he can keep scanning, he really would have made his life a lot easier. He could have got a third gas a bit sooner, and he could have got himself some vessels to detect these ground units and to nullify the effectiveness of these Arbiters, because the only reason this game has lasted 25 minutes is because of Arbiters and stasis and just the inability to see the cloaked units. But Idra is getting a solution for that, so credit to him. Here does come the first vessel, but our Protoss he may well run out of gas before that. Also these Goliaths, oh, stasis the Goliaths, that was quite good. The Goliaths are also going to be a bit of a nemesis because the Arbiter's cannons are so weak that a Goliath could probably beat 2 cannons just on his own. Alright, so the overwhelming power that is Idra is now moving down to this base, wrecking a few more probes. The only thing that's a little bit of a pain for him at this stage is these bloody Arbiters that are slowing him down, so all of his tanks can do nothing. They cannot shoot up, sadly. So what is he going to do to fight against said? There we go. Sending in a few Goliaths to knock down said Arbiters. He's frozen the Goliaths again. And he's come across here to try and knock down every single expansion he's seen up his Protoss has gone for. He's built gateways there, which is good. It's the right way to go. Then you're not fully reliant on your main to build units. You never built more than 3 in his main anyway. Then he had a lot here that are not doing anything. I mean, I don't really know what the plan is unless you're going to try and recall. I will keep an eye on those Arbiters, see if that helps. That's gone down. This is still going okay, so he's managed to hold on here. Here come these Arbiters. What are they going to go do? Let's see. Flying into this base. No. Okay, you can see here the middle of the map. Idra's moving his units down, so he's expecting a recall. And he's literally positioned all his Goliaths. He's laying mines in anticipation for the recall. So yes, there's space to do the recall. But the question's going to be, what value of any is he going to achieve? Let's see, where does he go? Where does he go? So he's got a few in front. There are a lot of Arbiters here. It's very difficult to know which one's going to do the recall. There's the recall. There's the second recall. So a double recall into the main. Pretty nicely done. But all of Idra's units here were waiting for this. 178 pairs 114. There's no way in hell that this is going to do any damage. The vessels have arrived now too to nullify the effectiveness of the Arbiter's cloak. He's sieging up here on the high ground. It's probably not the best call to siege up. He could just stay in tank mode, I think, considering the sheer volume and the zealots. Anyway, our Protoss player taps out. A fun PvT. I think Idra, to be fair, probably quite significantly stronger player. But that didn't take away from the fact that it was fun to watch a little bit of 2008 meta in action. I'm Rabbit Drew. If you enjoyed this, I do cast Brood War on a regular basis. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. Until next time, ciao for now.